When I first got out of prison, one of the requirements of being on parole was getting a job. Well, I had been in prison for 6 years at this particular time when I got out, and getting a job was on the top of my priority list, but I wasn't certain on how to go about it. I remember going to the probation and parole office for my first or second check-in. And of course, when I'm sitting in the waiting office, I see other dudes that I knew who got out as well, or who were checking in with their probation and parole. So we talk and chop it up a little bit. And, we waiting our turn to go see our probation and parole officer. And I could tell that some of the dudes I see in the waiting room, they struggling still. I'm like, man, why is this dude, loaded? Man, he just done 10 plus years. And I could tell he's trying to dodge. I could see the life he's living is written all over his face. When you see somebody and they still living that life, or they struggling with alcohol and drug addiction or whatever else kind of addiction, they ain't working, they staying out all night, hanging out all night, and they're not doing what they supposed to do. You can see it. So I see dudes like that in there, right? And I'm like, yeah, they're going to be back in prison. They're going back to jail. Ain't no doubt about that. Anyway, I'm in there. Like I said, it's my first or second time, and I'm meeting my parole officer, to discuss how he expects things to go. Keep in mind, I only had like 10, 11 months of parole. So I wasn't really too stressed out about it. I had did most of my time flat, and I had to back up another sentence I was on parole for, and I had lost some good time on that. So I had less than a full year on paper. So I really wasn't that concerned, but I wasn't going to disrespect the process, right? In my mind, I'm like, worst case scenario, I go do 10, 11 more months. Of course, I didn't want to do 10 or 11 months, but I know you can get caught up in anything. And if you learn anything about doing time and about being a criminal, sometimes the law can be down bad and they'll hook you up. So you never really quite know what's going to happen. So I go sit down, and I remember it was like the second time I went in. I think it was the second time. And I met my parole officer, and I said, look, I'm here to apply for a job. He said, what? I said, y'all said I need a job. I'm applying for a job. What jobs can you give me in probation and parole that y'all can pay me for? He said, huh? I said, y'all said I need a job. Well, I'm unemployed. I'm here. Give me a job, right? Y'all said I need to work. One of the requirements of being paroled is having a job. So I said, give me a job. Pay me. I'm not, and I told him, I'm not expecting you to pay me, master knowledge, certification, credentialed pay. Just pay me basic entry level pay, but give me a job till I get on my feet. They said, oh, we don't hire convicted felons. What? Y'all don't hire convicted felons? Y'all require me to get a job. Y'all are in the business of convicted felons, probation and parole. Y'all in the business of people being convicted and having to pay back to society by being on paper. So give me a job. Doesn't it make sense? He was hearing what I was saying, and he could tell I was serious. I wasn't joking. I'm like, give me a job, man. Let the state of Louisiana pay me as a convicted felon who just been released on parole. Now pay me. I was serious. Anyway, they didn't give me a job. I even asked for an application. He said, I'll give you an application, but they're not going to hire you. I might even fill the application out. I don't remember. But I was serious. Anyway, I didn't get the job. I wound up getting a job and doing some welding work. My dad got me a job in a shipbuilding industry because somebody he knew who lived a block over from us over in the bayou. And I started doing welding. Then I met my wife, and I went back to roofing because she didn't live in the same area. Hurricane Katrina happened. It wrecked everything. I wound up living in Baton Rouge. I wound up doing residential construction. And I did that for about 3 years. And then I was going to school at the same time in construction management. And I also wanted to earn my way, but I'm saying all that to say this. I remember after maybe a year or so of being home from prison, you got to think I'm about 28, 29 years old. I go to apply to the military. I want to do my part, right? I want to do something meaningful. So I tried to apply for the military, and they turned me down. They said, we can't accept you, because of my charges. I had drug charges and violent charges, and in having both of them, the military wouldn't take me. And if I remember right, I tried the Marines, I tried the Army, I tried the Navy. I think I tried all of them. I didn't try the Coast Guard because I didn't think about that at the time. It wasn't until later that I began to think about, I can also get a job with the Coast Guard. But I tried to go to the military. I remember talking to the recruiter's office, and I said, and I remember during the during some of the wars in the Middle East, I remember I went in and I said, hey, look, I would like to enroll and enlist. And they said, okay. I said, look, this is like my third or fourth time trying. I said, them guys and them women over there overseas on 2 and 3 tours. I said, they need a break. Why not enlist people like me so we can help give these people a break? They still didn't want to hire me. I was willing to go so somebody can come home and see their family after 2 and 3 tours, right? I wanted to help relieve the pressure of the people who were serving valiantly for the United States. Give me basic training. I got it. I don't need numbers. I was still in my early 30s by the time I went and did this. I could still handle it. Send me the basic training. Let me suit up, right? No, they wouldn't accept me still. I'm saying all that to say this. My cousin recently, and I want to give a shout out to my cousin. Thanks for sending this to me, Derek. But he sent me, with the convicts in California who were helping with the wildfires that recently wrecked and destroyed large portions of Southern California, right? We all know the story, right? Well, there was a lot of convicts who were helping as volunteer firefighters from inside the prison. So they would come from prison and they would suit them up and they would help fight the fires, right? They would assist the firemen. They were basically convicted, imprisoned firemen, right? So this is my thing. If a prisoner is worth using in times of crisis and natural disasters, why not employ them and give them an opportunity if they change their life to really work in the industry and keep a job as a first responder or a fireman? I think it's only right? If a convict paid his time and he's off paper and off parole, he could pass a drug test. He's not committing crimes. Yeah, there has to be a history, 5, 10 years. I don't know what the answer is to that, but they should have an opportunity to get full-time employment as a firefighter because they paid their dues. I paid my dues. I got almost 20 years of no criminal record, but I'm still held accountable for it, and I still can't get certain jobs. They could have sent me to the military. I was wanting to go to the military so much I was willing to go fight in the Ukraine war on my own dime. Only reason I didn't is my father had end of life heart failure, and he asked me not to do it, and it made sense. And my wife was like, "You really need to rethink this." And so I did. But I was willing to suit up because I couldn't fight here, but because the army wouldn't enlist me. But they said they couldn't stop you from going fight. So I was gonna go. I was gonna go grab me, whatever weapons they were handing over there in the Ukraine, and I was gonna fight. Now was that the smartest thing to do? Nah, probably not. But sometimes I get my mind set on doing some crazy things. And I was going to do that, but I didn't. What I'm saying is, why not employ convicted felons as firemen full time? There's a shortage of firemen. And they paid their dues. They want to help society too. Why not let them enlist in the military? Back in the days, in the 70s and even 80s, even the 60s, 70s, 60s, 70s, you know the stories. You could, before you go to jail, the judge would give you an option. You're going to enlist, son? Or you going to prison? And a lot of people enlisted. Some went to prison, but a lot of dudes enlisted and they wound up changing their lives while they were in the military, and they helped, fight wars. World War II probably. Vietnam War for sure. There was dudes who dodged prison by going enlist in the army. Some of them died fighting for this country. If somebody changes their life and they don't want to quit being an idiot, they should have an option and an opportunity to give back to society and be fully implemented back into society. If they've proven, like I said, that they're not going to be a criminal any longer and their track record backs it up. Because that can be some really solid individuals put into some solid jobs. They're going to hold the front lines down for society and the American people. What say you? What do you think? Do you think that if a person is convicted of a crime, they should never have an opportunity to get certain jobs like first responders and military? Or do you think they should have an opportunity to do it? We all have our different thoughts. I'm curious on what you think. Share in the comments below if you think a convicted felon should be able to get a job as a fireman or an EMT, or be able to enlist in the Army or the Navy. I think they should. What say you? Man, give me a like and subscribe to the Pin and the Shank. Let's get it.